This is Johnny Bluestar. Welcome to Threshold, a global media event. Is the universe just a random dance of atoms, or is it a manifestation of a supremely intelligent architect? Can its purpose, or our purpose here on Earth, be adequately assessed? Can we commune with it, know its intentions, cooperate with its direction? Here, we define threshold as a gateway state of awareness, allowing mankind to cross into a place of real cognition. Threshold allows us to approach questions of higher reality through the door of experience, rather than mere belief. Welcome to Threshold, where we tear away the veil from commercial media, bringing our audience and participants into another realm of reality and enhanced communication.
This is Johnny Bluestar back on Threshold Radio with Stephanie Slevin, a United Kingdom singer-songwriter and one of the more interesting and talented people I know. But one of the things about Stephanie that I really like is that she enjoys Wayne Dyer in the same way that I do and kind of lives her life in accordance with some of these principles. I say kind of because, the more I get into it, the more I realize the depth of Wayne Dyer's teachings. Right now, we're working on a video and a book called The Power of Intention. We're on part 2. In YouTube, you can find part 2, The Power of Intention by Wayne Dyer, and listen to it, and of course, you can get his book. I found both very, very interesting. I don't think reading and looking at a video is the same thing. There's more contemplation involved, I think, sometimes with a book. So, Stephanie, you've gone through this, right?
Yeah.
And what is your general impression now of the Power of Intention discussion?
Oh, I think it's great, and I love the things he says and the way he looks at things. And because I'm being led by the Spirit now, I can connect to a lot of things that he's saying. And he says you look at things differently, and you'll see things differently, and that's very true. I actually wrote this little thing. I put you see a homeless man, a drug addict, begging, laying on the floor. Stop. Don't pass by. Look a little closer. You'll see a whole lot more. And that's what he's kind of saying as well,
Definitely. He is. And he's talking about, how readily we will dismiss somebody who's homeless or begging or needs something from us without even looking or smiling or caring for a minute or even just sending them a silent blessing if we don't feel we can do anything. I know sometimes we're on the highway with my wife and we see somebody begging, and it's just no way we can get over to them. But at least we can pray that they get some help.
Yeah. I've always had a special connection to the homeless because I remember my grandfather, when I was taken away from him, he was a very well-dressed man, very well-spoken man, and he became dishevelled and he didn't care about himself anymore, and he used to walk the streets waiting at the bus stops for me to come back, which I never did because I was just a child, and people thought he was homeless. And so I've always had this empathy for the homeless people because of that, I look at them differently. So
there's a little story in this video where he's trying to, he's dealing with somebody who is probably homeless and begging, and he just walks away, and he starts to think about it, should I have done that? So he starts to chase after this guy, and finally finds him. He has to go into a building and finds him downstairs, and he's disheveled as before and really looking bad, and he gives him just some random change that he had in his pocket. And the guy just completely breaks down with joy and gratitude for what he did, as though he had, done something miraculous for him. And in fact, he probably did. But he was thinking about how much joy he gave to this man by something that cost him almost nothing except a good intention.
Yeah. Because you see a lot of people, I've seen homeless people, and a lot of people walk past, and I've actually, when I've given them things, I've had people say bad things to me. Why are you giving those people money? They're low lives, this and that. I said, it's my money, I do what I want with it, and I don't like when people say that about other people. You have to look at things differently to see what's really going on.
Stephanie, how you were saying that you feel connected to Spirit a great deal of the time. I do too, but intermittently. I fall from that awareness of intention quite a bit. I know what it's like to be coming from Spirit. But because of my own psychology, I have a lot of work to do. And particularly recently, I had some tremendous problems because let's say that my radio show was rejected by a sponsor, and I was kind of looking towards that solution and that benefit for a new program. And this threw me off considerably. I kept saying, I'm not really angry, because anger has always been a tremendous problem for me. But then I started to listen to Wayne. And when I did, he started to talk about judging other people. And I realized, I know this sounds stupid, Stephanie, but I realized that I could be judging a person very harshly and not really be angry at them. But still, that judging of another person, I felt was cutting me off from source. And so when I started to listen to Wayne and he was talking about the dangers of judging other people, I realized, I've disconnected myself from anger sometimes, but I have not at all disconnected myself from judging people. Can you explain that to me?
Well, I can relate, but when I was getting many, many rejections and not really believing in myself, I didn't get angry. I got more upset because I'm the sort of person who doesn't really get angry. I take things to heart and I get more upset. But then I started to realise when I connect to spirit that if 10 doors close, they're not the right doors. Another one will open. I mean, look at the way we connected. You was having a bad time, I was having a bad time, and then Spirit led me to you and you to me. So I don't think there's any reason to be angry. I just pray all the time and I just keep myself calm. But as I said, I've never really been an angry person. I've more been upset. But I'm not upset anymore now when I get rejected. I just know that's not for me, and I'll carry on because God opens doors no man can shut. So I'll just wait until the right door opens and I'll just keep going.
So, in my opinion about myself, I'm an angry and upset person. And I got rid of a lot of the anger. Not all of it, but a lot of it.
Well, I wrote a little quote for you. Look back to the cross, but never in anger.
I understand.
That's just for you now, you see.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, that's kind of funny because when I was a kid, I used to pass a Catholic church and there was a Jesus on a crucifixion. This was in Brooklyn. I was maybe 5 or 6 years old. That always upset me. And when I see anything like that, like I just saw Ben-Hur, when I see Jesus on a cross, it makes me very angry.
Now, when I see Jesus on the cross, I get very emotional. I don't get angry. I feel pain and I get upset.
Well, so I can say that I get upset and I get angry. Well, the thing is, I have a double whammy problem. Maybe more triple whammy. I don't know. But I just realized, though, as I was thinking about the people I was judging, and that there's a negativity in judging, too. It's sort of a condemnation. It's not anger, but it's silently condemning. I realized, if I really believe in what Dyer's saying, there's a certain perfection in even that, even things that seem to be going wrong, or people who seem to be off base in some way. This is where they're at. Can I accept them without being negative about it, without condemning them? I guess that's my question.
Well, I guess when we're angry with other people, or we judge other people, we're actually angry with ourselves and judging ourselves, maybe,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, one of the things that I wanted to discuss was Dyer's 7 Faces of Intention. I think that would be very interesting to go into. He feels that there are certain discrete components of intention. Now, let's just go, before we take our break and just start to discuss this, let's just go over one thing. Dyer does not think of intention as the kind of brutal will to push through every challenge and every possibility to get something done. Not an act of pure brute will, but rather the opposite. That there is a field of intention that is basically connected to source. It is source. And source is sort of an energy field that has produced everything in the universe, but is in itself essentially good, essentially righteous. And by connecting to source, you get the chance to manifest yourself in a very perfect way. And so again, it's more like submitting yourself, identifying with, communing with, becoming one with source that gets you something. And that is the connection that he's looking for, and that is the intention that he's trying to promote. And we'll be right back.
Here's a song about faith. It was inspired by the life of boxer Hurricane Reuben Carter, whose cause became super famous because of Bob Dylan's song and a movie based on his life. Now here, Stephanie's song was written after his release, but based on his act of faith while in prison. He said, "Hate put me in here, but love will bust me out."
Framed for a murder I didn't commit. Was good with my hands, knew how to hit, but I didn't kill anyone. I used to paint a pretty picture till they put me in the frame. I was a damn good boxer, Hurricane was my name. For what side of the mind, yeah? Well, it's in the courtyard. My gloves may be off now, but I'm still fighting real hard. And hate put me in here, but love's gonna bust me out. You might not see my lips moving, but you'll hear my heart shout that hate put me in here, but love's gonna bust me out. I could've won the title, they didn't want me to be a sir. White folks destroyed my life, evil thoughts they did concur. For they hate put me in here, but love's gonna bust me out. You might not see my lips moving, but you'll hear my soul shout that hate put me in here, and love's gonna bust me out. I float like a butterfly, and I sting like a bee. I think I was kind of an idol to Muhammad Ali. He knew that hate put me in here, and love's gonna bust me out. You might not see my lips moving, but the Lord heard me shout. For Lazarus came calling, it was a sign from the sun. He knew I was innocent, I never carried no gun. And that hate put me in here, but love's gonna bust me out. You might not see my lips moving, but the Lord heard me shout. He knew that hate put me in here, and love's gonna bust me out. Thank you.
This is Johnny Bluestar. My company, New Galaxy Enterprises, helps create media projects that support the environment, encourage a healthy lifestyle, develop useful, nurturing technology, and offer platforms for socially constructive entertainment or informative, transformative media. If you need help to accomplish your goals, visit newgalaxyenterprises.com or contact me at johnnybluestar@gmail.com. Turn your vision into a dazzling media reality. Manifest your media dream today. Whether you go occasionally or often to Las Vegas, or if you just plain wanted to go, but never did, Las Vegas Perks is a company that offers an amazing discount that can really take a huge bite out of your expenses. They offer a discount package containing over $1,500 of incredible discount coupons, mostly 50% off, featuring dining opportunities like La Village and Silver 7 buffets, the famous Tony and Tina's dinner show, family shows like Legends in Concert at the Flamingo, or the Beatles Show Orchestra at the Sax Theater in Planet Hollywood, and so much more. Why pay full price for Las Vegas shows, dining, and attractions when you can get them for half price? Go to LasVegasPerks.com. That's Las Vegas, PERKS.com, LasVegasPerks.com, one word, and get these fabulous discounts. Las Vegas Perks is veteran-owned. Now we're back with Stephanie Slevin and myself, Johnny Bluestar, on Threshold Radio, discussing part 2, which is called The Power of Intention by Wayne Dyer, which you can find on YouTube. And also there's a book called The Power of Intention, which is a tremendously powerful book. Now in actually the end of part 1 and the beginning of part 2, he discusses what he calls the 7 phases of intention. These are kind of remarkable thoughts. One of them, the first one, is creativity. How do you look at creativity from Wayne's point of view, Steph?
Well, I think we are all creative, but to bring out the creativity to its maximum, I think you have to connect to your spirit, because there is no guidance without the spirit. And let God into your soul and he will move your hand, and if you connect to the universe, you will start to do things more and more and more and be more creative. That's what I believe.
Well, I was when I was in high school, I was trying to write poetry, even before high school and what we call junior high. And my poetry was kind of stimulated by the beatniks, the beat poets, particularly Allen Ginsberg and Howe and other people of that genre, which was kind of free verse. But later on, I started to connect with the more sophisticated poets, including the neoclassical poets, like T.S. Eliot was my favorite, but also the romantic poets like Keats and Shelley. And I decided at some point, as I studied the classics in high school, that I wanted to be a playwright, but I wanted to write in verse, which is very unusual. And I started to write. I went to the Banff School of Fine Arts for a summer program. That's in Canada. And for the first time, I was exposed to really creative people who weren't, just thinking that the only great people were athletes. And it was kind of an interesting experience. And I started to write this play. And as I wrote this play, things came to me, Stephanie, that were like, I can't say, they were so far more advanced than anything I thought I could do. I understood them, but they were coming from a place that was so profound. Anyway, at some point, I began to be able to write poetry that seemed beyond my capacity. And it was a very unusual experience, and it seemed to be related to a certain state of consciousness. I didn't really know what a state of consciousness was back then, but I now see that I went into this place, and I could write in a way that was far more advanced than I seemed to be in a normal state of consciousness. And I relate that very much to this idea of creativity. And at some point, I became a little bit upset with this because I was looking for something more than that state of creativity that connected me to this higher ability to write. And now I realize I was connected, but I just didn't understand that it was the core of it. What I was really connected to. I just understood that I could do this thing, but I wanted more. I wanted to understand what it really was, and that became almost a lifelong search. So anyway, I think that creativity is really important, and by connecting with Source consciously, knowing that you're connecting with Source, this brings out a much more advanced understanding of who you are and how you are more than what your normal personality is.
Yeah, I agree, and I can definitely relate. I used to write many things from the age of 4, Johnny, and when I was in London from the age of 6, I used to take my writings to the school, but they didn't believe that I wrote them. When I used to bring them in, they said to me, "You did not write these." I said, "I did write these." And they used to give me detention until I'd turn around and say that I didn't write them. So I had to lie and say I didn't write them just to get out of the detention, because they couldn't believe that a 6, 7, 8-year-old girl could write such things like that. And that's been a constant battle for me for a long, long time. But now that people realise that I can sing and I put all these lyrics into music, they believe me. It's, oh my God, she did really write those things. She can do this. And since I've connected with Spirit, I've gone from writing 2 songs a week to 10 songs a week. Sometimes 4 songs a day.
It could be the Guinness Book of World Records is waiting you.
I just mentioned that the other day to my friend. She said I should look that up because that could be a possibility in the future, yeah.
So getting back, creativity is something that Dyer, who was a creative writer, really encourages, because it can happen to anybody, an engineer, a scientist, somebody who's trying to create the perfect garden. Whatever it is, you want to connect with Source, and so you're lifting your state of consciousness to another place. And I think that's very important.
I've always been connected to the source. I just didn't know it. But now that I know it, you know, my gift is advancing to different levels. I'm even surprised by it. I mean, I write things sometimes like, oh my God, I can't believe I wrote that. You know, but God gives me this gift. So really, everything he gives me, you know, what is mine if not belonging to him? That's what I like to say, you know.
Well, the second part, the second phase of intention is called kindness. Now, this is another revelation for me because there are certain people, like call me on the phone and telemarket me, that I become extremely unkind. Or when a person tries to sell me something that I truly don't want, I will become very sarcastic and nasty. I don't think this is a good thing. I think Dyer is right. We should try and be kind, particularly to those people who are being very offensive to us. What do you think, Steph?
100%. I mean, I'm kind to everybody, and everybody's not always kind to me. But since I've connected to Spirit, as I say, I don't get angry, and things that used to upset me before do not upset me anymore. I think, well, that's the way they are. Just let them get on with it. I just want to walk with the Lord, not with the stool. So that's how I'm living my life.
That's a really good one.
Thank you.
Well, another one that he speaks of is love. Now, love to me that he's speaking about is sometimes is sort of agape or karuna in another language. It's love that's coming from source. It's unconditional love. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the language of love should be on the tip of every tongue. And I like to say, be a thing of beauty that walks among the plains and just, you know, come with love. Because God is love, the universe is love. Walk with love.
So what is it really talking about? Platonic love, which is friendship, and I'm not talking about romantic love, which has sometimes an erotic component. It has a passionate component, but it's not the kind of love that we're speaking of here. We're talking about love that you could love somebody who is tremendously hostile towards you, or somebody tremendously indifferent towards you. But to be in that state is not really what we're used to being, or most of us. I certainly am not. But I have experienced it, and I wish to experience it more, because if I'm ever going to connect to Source, I think I have to.
Yeah, you could look at it this way. An enemy at the gate is a friend at the door.
Ah, okay. Well, another thing that he talks about is beauty. And I think it's really important to try and see things, to see the beauty in things. And I remember one of the things he says about Mother Teresa was that the way she grew spiritually is she began to see the face of Jesus in all the petitioners and beggars and crippled people and really sad people that she would meet every day on the streets of Delhi.
Yeah, I had a vision of Jesus when I was a child. And I had another vision of Jesus recently. But I think you have to see the beauty in everything. I really do. And I've started to see the beauty in ugly things. And and it connects you more, not just to the universe, but to nature. Sometimes it becomes overwhelming.
That's true. Our nature, certainly on this plane, is extremely harsh. And there are a lot of harsh things happening in nature now. I'm talking about a lot of melting glaciers and rising levels of the sea, a lot of tornadoes and cyclones and hurricanes, and a lot of flooding. A lot of disasters are happening. And to try and see something there that's not just pure terror, I think might be very interesting to have that point of view.
Yeah.
Then he speaks about expansion. How would you explain that?
Expansion, what you mean, putting your stuff out there?
Well, no, I think expansion in his case, and I tell you, I'm not sure here. I think expansion means being able to see beyond what you would normally see, to do things beyond what you normally do.
Well, I think that comes natural. The more you connect to spirit, like I said about my songs, I've gone from writing 4 songs a week, sometimes I'm writing 8 songs a day, because you're expanding, you're growing in strength. The more you connect to spirit, the more things you are able to do, the more it will give back.
Well, another phase of intention is called unlimited abundance. And this is something I think I've improved a lot, but I have times where I have certain fairly large aspirations, and these desires have been with me a long time. But I also have a lot of, you might say, limited kind of thinking. So it's trying to discriminate between what's reasonable because you're not ready to do something and being able to envision something better happening. And recently, some really important things have happened to me, so I'm able to have a radio series and promote my books and do things that I never really could do before. And I'm very grateful for that. But I also feel like, I'm still not free of this limitation inside of me, where I don't really completely commune with the possibilities for success. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I see.
So it's a struggle. And
yeah, it is a struggle.
One reason I started the Wayne Dyer Experience discussion group was so that I could grow too. And this radio show is about that growth as well. Because I think the more you talk about it, the more you think about it, the better it is. And there's one last thing that we'll discuss in the 7 phases of intention, which is receptivity. Are you receptive? Are you waiting for the universe to speak to you? Will you listen if it does speak to you? Will you be able to be receptive to things that happen to you that are maybe not so pretty, that are kind of difficult things, or people who are very, very difficult? I think that receptivity is a real important part of the spiritual path.
Johnny, I've always been receptive to the universe. I've always talked to the universe. I mean, most of my friends thought I was crazy, but that's what I'm like. I've always talked to the universe, and I've listened to the universe, and it's like, it makes a noise like a vibration. Sometimes you can hear it, and I know this sounds silly, but it sounds like Morse code. But I've always been receptive to the universe. And I'd just like to say quickly, I used to, when I wasn't connected to spirit, I'd blame God and say, why did you hurt my grandmother? Why did you let people hurt my grandmother like that? And now I look back and I see the things I'm doing, and out of something so ugly, I'm doing something so beautiful. Because now I'm connected to spirit, I can see the beauty in the plane.
And maybe there was a challenge for your grandmother and for you and for your family that needed this experience. Because I've had, really negative experiences, but in dealing with them, I think sometimes I've become a better person.
Oh yeah, definitely, you'll grow through it. I'm becoming a better person than what I used to be. I knew I was always in there, but I just needed to bring myself out. And it's a scary thing, because for a while there I looked in the mirror and I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't recognise myself. And it's been a scary thing for my family, all the changes, but they're starting to adapt now. So good things are starting to happen.
That's really great. Well, we're going to take a break now, and we've dealt with the 7 phases of intention, and now we're going to deal with the Dyer Dozen. We'll be right back. Patricia Welch is clearly one of the most accomplished singers living today. Recently, she created a wonderful CD set called Great Entertaining, Cocktails, Dinner, and Dessert with Patricia. Here are 2 complete shows with Patricia Welch, Evolution of a Singer and Cocktails with Patricia. Find them in our ThresholdRadio.com archives, as well as our SoundCloud and YouTube channel. Here's a clip of a song composer Edgar, Arens, and I wrote for Hadleigh's Castle, an album we've been working on with Patricia.
We must have known this place before, where waves crash cruelly on the shore, and wind carves out remorseful rules in deep shadows of silver dunes. I know your touch, your smell, your glance. This could not be some trick of chance. We whirl around this windswept beach, entranced by love beyond our reach. Your kisses never die. They leave
This is Johnny Bluestar. I've worked as a lyricist with Patricia Welch for over 5 years, along with Russian composer Edgar Arens, a friend and colleague. Her ability as a singer is simply amazing. She brings a unique and dramatic flair to every song she sings. Over the next few months, we shall be releasing a number of these songs, part of an album called Hadleigh's Castle. Meanwhile, Patricia has been busy creating a super enjoyable collection of classic standards in an exciting 46-song, 3-CD collection.
Music for Great Entertaining introduces Cocktails, Dinner, and Dessert with Patricia Welch. 3 hours of continuous music. 46 of the all-time classic standards, spanning decades of hit songs. Going to a friend's home for dinner? Cocktails, Dinner, and Dessert with Patricia also makes the perfect hostess gift. This 3-CD compilation is the perfect background music that sets just the right mood for any dinner party.
I'm crazy for feeling so lonely. There was a boy, a very strange, enchanted boy.
To purchase this album, just go to patriciawelch.com/CD. That is patriciawelch.com/CD. You won't be disappointed. This is Johnny Bluestar back with Stephanie Slevin, a UK singer-songwriter who I believe understands a lot about being connected. And if you heard as many songs of hers that I have, very diverse, very interesting, sometimes very strange, you would understand why I asked her to join me in discussing the Wayne Dyer experience, particularly focusing on the power of intention. And right now we're going to discuss the Dyer Dozen. There are 12 of them, obviously, if there are a dozen. And the first one is called Want More for Others Than You Want for Yourself. I find that kind of difficult. What do you make of that one?
No, I've always wanted more for others than what I have for myself. I mean, even though I'm doing this for myself now, my music, I did it like for my grandmother because I want her to have a voice. She was a beautiful person and she deserves to be heard. And I'm doing it for my family. I've never really wanted much for myself, just to be a better person than what I have been, the way I've lived my life. But I like to help people. I've been like that since I was very, very young, since I was about 4 years of age. That's in me. That's naturally the way I am.
Well, I always find I think that I'm selfish in some way. I think I have felt this sometimes, but I'm always feeling there ain't enough for me. And this is something I'm trying to overcome. When you feel that way about yourself, you have a hard time feeling that way about other people too. But I also feel helpful sometimes, and I want to help people and give to people. But there is this part of me that I'm trying to work around or dissolve if I possibly can. Then the second one, this is a really interesting one. Think from the End. I recently had a need to do this radio show and books and a lot of things that I wanted to do. And suddenly it arrived. That ability arrived. And the interesting thing is that I went ahead and did exactly what I had envisioned of. And it was impossible. When I tried to envision it, there was no route to that possibility at all. And there were some things that were fragments of it, but this gave me the possibility of actually carrying it out. And now we've had, I don't know, maybe 40 programs, and I've gotten to meet a whole lot of interesting people and work with interesting people. But I think it's really amazing that this all was envisioned before, according to the teachings of Dyer and other people who think that way and teach that way. How about yourself?
Yeah, I agree with that. And I mean, a little while ago, I don't ask God for much for myself, Johnny, but obviously I'm trying to make a living like anybody else. And I did say to Spirit, and I closed my eyes and I meditated, And I did ask him for a particular song to help me to get noticed to where I need to be. And within minutes of me saying that, this particular song came. And I put it out there, and some good things happened with that song. And I got some followers because of that song. So, you know...
What is that song, Steph?
I didn't really want to say.
Come on. Yeah.
The Walking Dead.
Oh, I thought it was another song.
No, it was that song. Because I'm trying to take my music down a certain path, and I said, even though I know that God gives me good songs, I said, please can you give me a song to impress certain people, because I didn't get a song while watching this particular show, and then as soon as I said that, within minutes that song came, and I knew he'd answered me. And I felt like, at least he only did that because I'm going on the right path and I'm doing the right thing. So I feel like I was rewarded.
Well, the next part of the Dyer Dozen, and now that's really hard, because he wants you to appreciate bad things as well as good things. And
but like I said with my grandmother, that was a bad thing, Johnny, but I appreciate that now. I look back now and see the things I'm doing, and I never saw a window of opportunity before. Like I said, that was an ugly situation, but I'm doing beautiful things with that. So that's what Wayne Dyer is talking about, you know? Seeing the beauty in ugly things.
I think I'm going to do a life review and try and see. There's so much in my background that I don't appreciate, that I resented. And I think I'm going to go back over a lot of things, particularly in childhood, and see if I can understand them better. Of course, part of it is that you do grow from these things and your behavior changes and certain things happen. Well, the fourth is kind of related to all the things we've said so far, which is to stay in rapport with search energy.
Well, Johnny, if all those bad things didn't happen to me as a child, or those bad things didn't happen to my grandmother, I couldn't do what I'm doing now. So, you know, and I'm helping people. I've discovered recently that I am helping people with my words and my songs. So I'm doing wonderful things with that.
Well,
putting a little bit of magic into tragic. That's what I like to say.
Putting a little magic into tragic. Well, then getting back to this fourth part of the Dyer Dozen, which is to stay in rapport with source energy. Now, this is something that's really important to me because I do experience this. I experience this it's sort of like, you might say, people would say an altered state of consciousness, but actually it's the right state of consciousness, and what we're normally in as people is an altered state of consciousness. But it's a really wonderful thing to experience because you're feeling like God is walking right with you. You're in the garden. You're there with God. And that's a wonderful thing. And I wish I felt it all the time, but sometimes I really don't. What do you say to that?
Yes, I mean, sometimes I get my days like that, you know, and I think, oh, my song's good enough, and I get my days of doubt. I think we all do. But then I just lay there and I close my eyes and I just think, look at all the things. I actually listen to my own songs sometimes to convince myself that they're good enough. I still do that. I did it actually earlier on. But I know that God is with me. He's with us all. We just have to let him into our heart so he can move our hand, you know?
Yes, I understand. Now that brings us to the fifth part of the dozen, called resistance, which is any thought that's other than the thought that source would think. There's always something there. And, you know, I see the things, because I just, you know, I've seen this video before, but I watched it again and parts of it twice to prepare for this discussion. And I saw that there was, you know, certain things happening to me where I'm judging, I'm being negative, I'm being this and that. And there's such a cluster of these things, it's sort of blocking me. So when I see that, I start to try and chip away and replace my thinking with a different kind of thinking. And I have to say, what Dyer really did for me, and I was having a real hard time when I was dealing with it, when I first encountered that Dyer could be a source of help to me, was that you really have to change a whole lot of things about yourself sometimes in order to be able to think the way Source does. It's not a simple thing. It's like a remaking of a lot of your patterns of thinking and feeling that block you from this higher experience.
Yeah, you have to form new habits. You have to form good habits, you know, and I find that. But what I like to say is be one with the source and you will get to go places.
Well, that's sort of like leading us to 6. contemplate yourself as surrounded by the conditions you want to produce. Now, this is something like thinking from the end, but it's not quite as specific because, like, you might want to be able to eat in good restaurants, or you might want to drive a car that's really nice to drive. So you actually contemplate yourself driving that kind of a vehicle, or being in a nice restaurant, or being in the country. I found that recently that I'm taking sort of regular walks in a certain nearby woods. And this is just absolutely renews me. And when I before that, I sort of desired to do this, but I didn't know where to do it. And I would think about how more comfortable I would be if I could be with nature. And I found a place that I have easy access to where I can get that experience. So that was really important to me. Now, another thing, number 7 of the Dyer Dozen is understand the art of allowing. What do you think that means, Steph? The art of allowing.
Well, you have to allow the Spirit to enter you, to connect with you, not fight against it. For years, I heard this little voice telling me I could do things, but I listened to all the negative voices surrounding it telling me that I couldn't. And now I listen to that one little voice and I'm allowing myself to go forward. I'm allowing myself to put things out there. I think that's what he means.
I think that's one part of it, but another part of it is to allow, like you're trying to sell something, or you're trying to connect with someone, but you're afraid to do it because you're afraid of the rejection or the something that will happen as a result. And I think that is really important, to allow yourself to face things like that, or face negative people without retreating totally. Try and deal with situations positively if you can. Now, another thing, number 8, is practice radical humility. I don't think I'm too good at this one, even though I have every reason to be radically humble. What do you think?
Yeah, to be honest with you, Johnny, I've always been like a down-to-earth person, and I don't have to practice doing so many things because they've always been in my nature to be like that. But yes, I was very upset about all rejections, but I don't get upset about things like that anymore because I just know it's not meant for me. That's how I look at things, and that's how Wayne Dyer looks at things. So I've started to look at things that way. He's very inspiring,
Yes, he is. Now, here's another one that I have trouble with. Be in a constant state of gratitude. Because there's so many things that upset me still, and he's not saying be grateful for all the good things, be grateful for some of the bad things. Whoa, I don't know about that one. That's really tough. But
back to my grandmother and my childhood. I'm actually, like I say, I now see it different. I see those things happen for a reason, so that I could go forward and, help people and make a lot of good come out of something so bad. So I know it sounds strange, but I'm actually grateful for the bad things that happen to me now. I never was in that place before, but I'm in that place now.
Relating to that, there's another number 10 on the Dyer Dozen, is you can never resolve a problem by condemning it. Whoa, again, that is a tough one for me, because I get really mad when I can't resolve something, and I just get mad at that it exists. I wish it didn't exist.
We're kind of the opposite there, Johnny. Like I say, I get upset with things. I don't really get angry with situations. If I can't solve something, I just get more upset. Or I say, please God, or please angels, help me with this. That's the kind of person I am. I've always been that way.
Well, I would say that I'm more likely to curse everything connected with that problem rather than resolve it in any other way. I can get really, really upset. And again, I know I have to do something about that, but it's a long checklist, Seth. A very, very long checklist.
Yeah.
Then play the match game, and that's are you matched up with the energy source doing something? Well, I just came to the conclusion prior to this conversation that I really wasn't matched with source. And I was been trying to disentangle it. And of course, getting back to Wayne Dyer helps me disentangle it. Just incredible blessing. I am grateful. I am appreciative of what Wayne Dyer does do. Another thing that he said, the 12th of the Dyer Dozen is to meditate. Now you see, Steph, I was meditating since I was 14 consciously. That's a long time. I won't say how old I am. I'm in a certain place where perennial youth is definitely something I'm grateful for, or will be. At any rate, meditation itself was an attempt to connect with Source. I didn't do very well for a long time. And then at one point I started to connect with certain other states of consciousness. But I didn't understand all the other things that you need to know to make that beneficial. Like the things he's talking about, which fit into the category of manifestation and right thinking, so that when you are in a state of consciousness, you can recognize this as a source state of consciousness. This is not just any state of consciousness, and you can actually start to see your dreams come true.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I never used to meditate. To be honest with you, Johnny, you suggested it to me a little while ago. I don't know if you remember. And since then I have started to meditate. But I've always had visions, and they've made my visions stronger. It was scary at first, but then I started to have beautiful visions when I was meditating. So I feel like I'm even more connected to Source now. So thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. Being in the present moment, which is part of or mindfulness, which is sort of the beginning point of meditation, does enhance the experience of spirit. Just being able to stay in and maybe hear the noises around you, air conditioning, the breeze on your arm, experience your breathing, experience your heartbeat, all these things root you in the present moment, and make you more receptive to spirit. It is now time to hear from Dr. Hugo Rodier, MD, we're going to have regularly brings to us his insights and wisdom. But I want you to just tell us a little bit how
Hi, Johnny. Thanks for having me. Today I want to highlight
you mean where they can find it?
SK&A survey.
They can find me on
They're an
Reverb
outfit
Nation
that
or
surveys the
YouTube,
nation from
or
time
I'm on
to time, quite
Twitter at
reputable. They
Steffi_Halo.
surveyed a whole lot of
And you put my
doctors.
name in
In fact,
Google, Stephanie Slevin, and usually it comes up with all my music.
medical practices
You'll see me.
representing 740,000 physicians.
Yeah, and then it'll just come
and
up and it'll show
found
you
that the
all my
number of
videos and all
docs
my music.
who still receive
and of course there have been, if you go to Threshold Radio,
continues
you
to
go to
drop.
YouTube, you
Now,
put Threshold
last
Radio.
year, in the year 2010, it was 50%. 50% of docs would see
and
drug
search
reps,
for our shows, you're going to see several hours of talking to Stephanie, but these hours
believe this will
accompanied
continue
by
to
her
drop.
music. So I thank you for today. This is another wonderful experience with you. And I hope the people in
their information is tainted.
Our little group, the Wayne Dyer Experience, will get something out of this.
The real evidence is not published in the journals. We know that about 1/3 of medical research is tainted by statistical quirks or outright lying. And
for those of you
often
interested
the
in
negative
discussing the
studies
subject spoken about
against
in
the
Threshold
particular
Radio,
drug
I
are
have
not
two
published
LinkedIn
at all.
discussion
So
groups, the
if you
Wayne
were
Dyer
to throw all the
Experience, which
studies in a
permits members
hopper
of LinkedIn
and
to
publish them
discuss the
all,
books,
you
videos,
would
and
see
teachings
that
of
drugs
Wayne
are not as
Dyer,
efficient,
and the specifically
not as
Threshold
beneficial,
Radio group, which
not
deals with
as
the topics
harmless
featured on Threshold
as we have
Radio,
been led to
a
believe.
program that looks
So
at
I believe
political,
that this
social,
number
and
dropped
personal
from
issues from the
50
standpoint of
50%
self-empowerment and
35%
manifestation.
of doctors
Kenneth
seeing
Eade
drug
is a
reps
novelist and
signals
attorney,
that
often
doctors
appearing on
are
Threshold
beginning to
Radio as a
realize
guest,
these simple
discussing the
facts
kind
that
of
we've known
critical,
for
real
decades.
political, and legal
Pharmaceutical
issues he
industry,
presents
as
in
much
his
as we
fictional
need it,
novels.
in
Although
acute
fictional,
cases,
his
like
novels
a
both
heart
entertain
attack
and
or a
inspires
stroke
readers
or
to wake
a
up to the
car wreck
momentous
or
challenges to
some
our
other
health, freedom, and safety
catastrophe.
in today's
Yes,
world.
we need
Here's a
drugs for
sample of
those
his novel,
very
The Spy
immediate,
Files.
emergent
Spy Files is another riveting
situations.
component of Kenneth Eade's
But
Brent
when we start
Marks
to use
legal
the same
thriller
drugs
series.
for
When Michael
chronic
Fine, a young
diseases,
journalist, asked Brent
diabetes,
Marks to assist him in a
hypertension,
Freedom of Information
cholesterol,
request,
depression,
classified
they
documents
don't work
are
as
accidentally
well.
released
The
to him
best
by the
way
FBI.
has
When they're
always
not
been,
returned,
always
there's
will
big
be,
legal trouble
to
afoot
change
for
our
him and for his
lifestyle,
attorney,
to
who are
work on
facing
those
criminal
things that
prosecution.
have
The
created
story,
the problem,
however, starts
which,
off with a murder.
always
Here's an
fall
excerpt.
into
The
nutrition,
Spy Files by Kenneth
lifestyles,
Eade,
stress,
read by
toxicity
Maxwell
in the
Zeno.
environment. So,
When Chan approached the lab, he could see that the lights were on.
Feel the pinch.
That's strange.
And stay tuned because in the future we'll talk
Maybe
about
it's the janitor.
what they're looking at.
He unlocked the lab door
to
and
prop
startled
up
the
their
man who was
sagging
sitting at his station.
And that
Chan's
is
monitor was
the
illuminated.
manufacturing, the
What are you doing
invention
there?
of new vaccines.
The man rose from his seat,
Dr.
and
Rodier
looked to his
works out
right
of
and
his
then
own
to his
integrated
left,
health clinic
deciding
in
whether to
Draper,
run
Utah.
or stand his
Although
ground.
he, of course, takes office
Chan
visits.
approached him.
He also
I'm calling
schedules
security. You shouldn't be
consultations on the
here.
phone. For
Just
complete
back
contact
off, Chinaman, and I won't have to
read
hurt
his
you.
blogs, newsletters, hear his
Chan
podcasts,
put his right hand
buy
on
his
his
books,
stun gun,
go to
searching for the nerve.
HugoRodier.com. That's
With his left hand, he picked up the phone and started to punch in the number for security with his thumb. Put it down, Chinaman. Chan looked up to see the man pointing a gun
any rate,
right at him.
Steph, we're going to have to go
down
now
the phone
because
slowly.
it's over with.
You're going to shoot
but
me?
I want you to
walk
just
away
tell us a
and
little
nobody
bit
gets hurt.
how people
Just
can
walk
actually
away.
connect with your
You didn't
music.
see anything.
You mean where they can find it?
Chan took 2 paces back.
They can find me on
He bent to
Reverb
pick up his
Nation
briefcase.
or YouTube.
Leave it.
Or I'm on
Just
Twitter
keep
at
moving.
Steffi_Halo.
Chan let go of the handle
You
of the
put my name in
briefcase.
Google, Stephanie Slevin,
man
and
approached
usually
him
it comes
slowly.
up with all my music.
Chan took
Yeah,
another
and
2
you
steps
put
back,
it
and the
in
man took
search
several
in
steps
YouTube
forward.
too.
Yeah,
Chan
and then it'll
put his
just
hand
come
on
up
the
and it'll
door,
show
and the
you all my
man
videos
gently
and all
pushed
my
him
music.
through it.
Yeah. And
Taking
of course,
his
there have been,
chance, Chan
if you
rotated,
go to
slammed
Threshold
the taser
Radio,
against
I
the
mean, you go to
man's body
YouTube
and
and
let
put
it
Threshold
rip.
Radio,
The man
and
dropped
your
the gun
name,
and
or
staggered
if you
back,
go
bracing
to
himself against a table.
thresholdradio.com
Chan came back
and
into the
search
lab and lunged
for
for
our
his
shows,
briefcase.
you're going to see
With a
several
surge
hours
of energy and
talking
anger,
to
the
Stephanie,
man
but
tackled
these
Chan,
hours will be
slamming him
accompanied
back
by our
against
music.
a lab table.
So I thank you for today.
Chan
This is
fell
another
hard,
wonderful
hitting
experience
his
with
head.
you, and I hope the people
lay
in
there
the
still.
in our
man
little
panicked
group,
and
the
felt
Wayne
his
Dyer
carotid artery.
experience, will get something out of this.
There was
and
no pulse.
We hope to have some programs where we can
shit.
actually talk
What
with
a
them
mess.
about their experiences.
He pulled his cell phone.
Thank you
out
for
of his
having
pocket.
me back on the show. It's a pleasure.
Thanks,
From
Steph.
The Spy
Bye-bye.
Files
Bye-bye.
by Kenneth
For
E.
those of you interested in
Read by
discussing the
Maxwell
subject
Zener.
spoken about in Threshold Radio, we will be going out with a song from Patty Greer. But first, a short invitation from Threshold Radio. Discuss the books, videos, and teachings of Wayne Dyer, and to specifically Threshold Radio Group, which deals with the topics featured on Threshold Radio. A program that looks at political,
and advocates
social,
the creation
and
of
personal
an
issues from
enlightened
the
and
standpoint of
informed citizenry
self-empowerment and
throughout the world.
manifestation.
Then you might think of
Kenneth
supporting
E.
your
is a
business and our
novelist and
message
attorney,
by
often appearing on
advertising on our
Threshold
show.
Radio as
If
a
interested,
guest,
just go to
discussing the kind of critical, real, political, and legal issues he
www.thresholdradio.com
presents
or
in his
contact
fictional
me at
novels.
johnnybluestar
Although
at
fictional,
gmail.com.
his novels both entertain and inspires readers to wake up to the momentous challenges to our health, freedom, and safety in today's world. Here's a sampling of his novel, The Spy Files. Spy Files is another riveting component of Kenneth Eads' Brent Marks legal thriller series. When Michael Fine, a young journalist, asked Brent Marks to assist him in her Freedom of Information request, classified documents are accidentally released to him by the FBI. When they're not returned, there's big legal trouble afoot for him and for his attorney, who are facing criminal prosecution. The story, however, starts off with a murder. Here's an excerpt.
The Spy Files by Kenneth E. Read by Maxwell Zener. When Chan approached the lab, he could see that the lights were on. That's strange. I'm sure I turned them off. Maybe it's the janitor. He unlocked the lab door and startled the man who was sitting at his station. Chan's monitor was illuminated. What are you doing there? The man rose from his seat and looked to his right and then to his left, deciding whether to run or stand his ground. Chan approached him. I'm calling security. You shouldn't be here. Just back off, Chinaman, and I won't have to hurt you. Chan put his right hand on his stun gun, searching for the nerve. With his left hand, he picked up the phone and started to punch in the number for security with his thumb. Put it down, Chinaman. Chan looked up to see the man pointing a gun right at him. He set down the phone slowly. You're going to shoot me? Just walk away and nobody gets hurt. Just walk away. He didn't see anything. Chan took 2 paces back. He bent to pick up his briefcase. Leave it. Just keep moving. Chan let go of the handle of the briefcase. The man approached him slowly. Chan took another 2 steps back, and the man took several steps to punch in the number for security. Put his hand on the door, and the man put a jet down, pushed through it. Chan looked up to see the man. Chan rotated a gun, slammed the taser against the man's body. He set down the phone slowly. The man dropped the gun and staggered back, just bracing himself against the table. Nobody gets hurt. Chan came back into the lab and away for his briefcase. He didn't see anything. With a surge of energy and anger, the man tackled Chan. He slamming him back against the lab table. Leave it. Chan just fell keep hard, moving, hitting his head. Chan let go of the handle of the briefcase still. The man approached him slowly and felt his carotid another 2 steps back, and the man took several steps forward. Chan put his hand on the door, and the man gently pushed him through it. He pulled his cell phone, taking out of his pocket. Chan rotated, slammed the taser against the man's body, and let it rip. The man dropped the gun and staggered back, bracing himself against the table.
We will be going out with a song from Patty Greer, but first a short invitation from Threshold Radio.
With a surge of energy and anger, the man tackled Chan.
If you like Threshold Radio, a program dealing with core issues affecting our personal, political, and spiritual lives, and advocates the creation of an enlightened and informed citizenry throughout the world, then you might think of supporting your business and our message by advertising on our show. If interested, just go to www.thresholdradio.com or contact me at johnnybluestar@gmail.com.
From The Spy Files by Kenneth E. Read by Maxwell Zener.
We will be going out with a song from Patty Greer, but first a short invitation from Threshold Radio. If you like Threshold Radio, a program dealing with core issues affecting our personal, political, and spiritual lives, and advocates the creation of an enlightened and informed citizenry throughout the world, then you might think of supporting your business and our message by advertising on our show. If interested, just go to www.thresholdradio.com or contact me at johnnybluestar@gmail.com.